This video is going to go over how to do attendance and how to do the mandatory course enrollment activity, which actually counts as your attendance and entry into the classroom. So as you can see, I am on the faculty screen, and I'm going to actually open two separate programs. I'm going to open the LMS and go to your course. And then I'm actually going to go to the self-service. Hit faculty, and we should be able to go to your course. When we go to your course, there we go. We're going to go to attendance. So this gets a little bit confusing, so let me just explain. The census is when 10% of the class is over. And you have to do something in the classroom before or on the census date. And just to give you a little background, that this is jokingly called the University of Phoenix rule, because the University of Phoenix got caught accepting a lot of student financial aid, but the students never did a thing in the course room. So now the Department of Education makes every institution prove that the students did something within the first 10% of the class. So that's why we have the mandatory course enrollment. It's the Department of Education requirement. So the mandatory course enrollment is how you decide when census is. So for your mandatory course enrollment, you will see that I put that date in, and I'll show you where that date came from. That date came from your actual class. If you will go back into roster, I think it's roster. It's somewhere in here. Maybe it's back to your courses. Let me see. Sorry. Yes, it's here. You will see, let me put this out here, that 256, the census is on 118. And it opens up on 117. I just ignore that. I mean, what's the point? Unless all your students have done it already, what's the point of going in early? So that's where we find out where the census is. And the mandatory course enrollment activity must be done before the census, before or on the census date. If they do not do it, they will be withdrawn from the class. So let's go back into your classroom. We're in the mandatory course enrollment activity. We're going to click on the mandatory course enrollment activity, and it says 15 attempts. We're going to click that, and you will see who all has taken it. Okay. Now, you can sort this by a couple of different ways. If you want to do it alphabetically, you just hit last name, and it'll come up alphabetical. Whoop, that's reverse alphabetical. It'll come up alphabetical. Or you can hit completed, and that'll tell you the time frame. That'll list the first person all the way down to the last person that took it. Now what I do is I typically do last name, and then I literally just take out a piece of paper and write the name and the date that they took it. So like Sheila Bell took it on the 8th, Blanchard took it on the, man, I know all of these people. Burris took it on the 8th, Jenny Duncan took it on the 8th. I do not know Alexis Emsminger. Don't know that one, but took it on the 8th. Anthony, he's a veteran, took it on the 8th. Heather Hatton, know her. Elisa Goss, know her. Anna Moore, I'm not familiar with her. Sarah Moran, Melody, Inga. I don't know Connor Shields, Cindy Sutton, and Christina Wedding. So all of them took it on the 8th except, I think, Melody. I think that's right, yes. So what you want to avoid when you go into attendance is saying that everybody took it on the same day. Because if you were to get audited and they come in and they say, so everybody took their mandatory course enrollment on the 8th, what about, who is it? What about Melody Price, who didn't take it to the 9th? Why are you saying she entered your classroom on the 8th when she didn't enter it until the 9th? So that's why it's important to kind of make sure that you know what day all of your students did the mandatory course enrollment activity. From there, you're going to go back into self-serve and back into attendance. This is where it also gets a little tricky because it's going to automatically come up with today. So you can go back to Monday. Because this is an online course, it's going to say time not specified. And that just means it's an online course. And you can switch back and forth from your mandatory course enrollment, or you can just write them down so you don't have to keep switching back and forth. But Sheila Bell did it on January the 8th. You're on January the 8th, so you can mark her as present. That is all it is to the mandatory course enrollment activity. Now, I believe it was Price who did not take it on the 8th. So you're going to mark her as absent, no excuse. All we have is present and absent, no excuse. We do not have absent with excuse. Those are the only two options this school recognizes. Then you would need to go in and select present for all the rest of them. Now, for Melody, you got to come back up here and make sure it's on Tuesday the 9th, because that's when she took hers. You're going to mark present. The rest of those for the 9th are absent because they all did it on the 8th. Now, I'm not going to do all of it. I'm going to leave that to you. But when it comes time to do the census, come on, you're going to make sure that all of these have at least some kind of attendance. And if nobody came, you would mark it here. That never attended. That's when you don't have to withdraw them. That's when the school would withdraw them, and then you have to certify it. Now, you can't certify it because it's not open yet. So, every week, you have to take attendance. What I do is just pick a day, and you're going to see what I typically do is take the day that I grade, like all my assignments are due on Sunday. So I use that Monday and make sure that everybody did something the week before and just mark them present. You're going to have to track your attendance, and the way I do that is a paper person again, but you can do it on an online calendar also. But if somebody has missed a week, didn't do something that week, I will send them an email saying, hey, if you don't do something by, and I actually count the days on a calendar, and I give them that day, and I will tell them, if you do not do something by day X, you will be withdrawn. And then I go to a calendar and put their name on the calendar, so that I know when that date comes up, I got to check to see if they've done anything. And if they haven't, I send an email to MCC Records at mitchellcc.edu. And there's a form to fill out, which I will send to you. And you have to withdraw them from the classroom. So, mandatory course enrollment, I think all of yours have done it. So what you're going to need to do is somehow or another mark them present on the day they did it in self-serve. You're also going to have to figure out a way to keep track of attendance and figure out when you want to take your weekly attendance. So I hope that helps. If not, or if you need help, please let me know. Thanks. Bye.